So the ushers are going to go ahead and pass out some note cards and some pens for you. So what I want you to do when you get those note cards is I want you to think about what is on your plate, right? And what I mean is we're in a room full of beauty entrepreneurs. So of course, there's a lot of things that you have to do. And so I just want you to write down those things, right? And of course, yes, you're a beauty entrepreneur, but then you also have a life. You might be a mom, you are a sibling, you're a child, just think about all the things that you have to do and just write that down. And while the ushers are doing that, as you're thinking about that, what are some words that come to mind when you think about like all your responsibilities that you have to do? What are some words that come to mind? Gonna need you guys to talk back to me. Stressed, okay. Tired, okay. Anybody else? Did you say tired? Time. Okay, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. Anxious. Anybody else? What are some words that come to mind when you think about all the things that you have to do hopeful. Oh, I love that. All right, awesome. Awesome. Anybody else? What are some words that come to mind when you think about what is on your plate and all the things that you have to do? Rest? All right, awesome. So I'm going to be discussing some self-care tips with you. So like I said, when you get that note card, you can just write down some of those things that you have to do. And then on the other side, I'll tell you what to do, right? But like some of the words that have been said: stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, hopeful. I like to hear that. Rest. And this is good, right? It's important that when we are entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur rather, you have to think about all the things that are on your plate. And this is an analogy that I like to think about, right? As an entrepreneur, it's very easy for you to stack things on your plate, right? So, the session that was before mine was on marketing. So you might be thinking, okay, these are the things that I have to do for marketing, and then branding, and, even just like quality assurance, ensuring that the product is good enough, right? And then you still have to hopefully if you like going to the gym, but like do physical exercise, take care of yourself, get enough sleep, it can definitely feel overwhelming, right? And so one of the things that I like to think about, or that I like to teach people rather, is just thinking about what is on your plate, but then specifically, what do you need to take off your plate, right? And also, what do you need to include on your plate, right? So if I were to ask you as an entrepreneur, what are some things that, you feel like you could take off your plate? And taking off, some of the panelists and speakers have spoken about delegating, right? So what are some things that as an entrepreneur that you feel like you could take off your plate? Anybody? Okay, I'll share one. Something that I took off my plate is, so I have my own practice. I have my own therapy practice. Something that I took off my plate was administrative duties, right? So when I first started, if you email us, therapy@Ibi Ayo, is me that was responding, right? But now I've taken that off my plate. I'm still overseeing that, but I'm not the one that is going in there on the laptop that is having to respond to you. And even before I got to the point where I could hire somebody, I took that task, I made that task easier by coming up with templates, for example, right? What are some common emails that people are going to send, things like that. So that's an example of what I mean by what are some things that you can take off your plate. Anybody want to share? All right, awesome. So we'll go ahead and discuss self-care tips. So you can scan this QR code rather. We're going to discuss some self-care tips that you can incorporate as an entrepreneur. Can I get the next slide, please? All right, so I don't know if you guys can read this very well. This screen is very grainy. But as a beauty and wellness service providers, the challenges are very unique, right? So you're dealing with being an entrepreneur, but then you also have nuances like dealing with client management, staff, like has been spoken about, thinking about things like marketing. And it's very easy for you as the entrepreneur to get lost in the process. So a self-care tip that I would recommend is to prioritize your own wellness, right? And this is very important because your physical and mental health is extremely important. I know that sometimes that gets preached a lot, about, and it might be in an excessive way, but it's actually really true, right? If you don't take care of yourself, it's going to trickle down into your business, right? I mean, even me, just this morning, I woke up feeling a little funny, and I'm like, am I coming down with something, right? And I know that as a service provider, if I don't take care of myself, I'm not setting a good example for my clients. So as a therapist, last year, I was feeling pretty burnt out, and I was just like, you can't be feeling burnt out and you're telling people to take care of themselves now. So you need to be able to take care of yourself. You need to be able to set that example for people that are in your industry, for your staff, and also for your clients as well. Next thing is you need to set boundaries and clearly define what work-life balance looks like for you. Work-life balance is very person-specific and is very business-specific, right? So work-life balance to me as a therapist might look differently to somebody that's an esthetician or a salon owner. But just defining what work-life balance looks like for you and what it looks like for your business, right? What can your business handle? What are some things that you can integrate into your business right now? And then number 3 is delegate tasks and outsource. I know that delegation is something that has been spoken about by our different speakers and panelists. Whenever it's possible, try to think of ways that you can delegate, and then also empower your team so they're able to function without you when you're not there. I know something that I believe it was Dr. Uju that referenced that, a problem that she ran into where people were always wanting to book with her. And so she had to train her nurses to become qualified enough to provide the level of care that her clients would expect from her, right? That's an example of delegation, because you're only one person, you still have your own life to live, and it's important that other people your clients know that, okay, even if you as the owner are not there physically, they know that your staff are able to still offer the same level of care that you would offer. So delegating your task is very important. Next slide, please. Okay, so stay inspired by engaging in continuous development. I mean, I think this is a great opportunity. This is a great example of continuous development, right? You're networking, you're learning about things, you're thinking about things like marketing, trends, things like that, things that you may not have thought about prior to today. Next would be to connect with other beauty and wellness service providers. I mean, you're in a room full of beauty and wellness service providers. There's something so unique about being able to talk to another business owner that understands like the struggles that you go through, understands like just the nuances of the difficulties that you might be having in your business. So definitely that's something that I would recommend. Next is to schedule regular breaks, right? So whatever breaks looks like for you, whether it's going on vacation, if you are at a point, if you're a solo entrepreneur, for example, maybe you might not be able to take prolonged vacation. So maybe you're taking the weekends off, or if you're taking like public holidays. I mean, I'm a beauty service user, so I know that a lot of salons, for example, would be closed on Mondays, right? So that's a break that's already scheduled in. So whatever that looks like for your business, whatever that looks like for your industry, it's just important that you are scheduling those breaks, because it's not only important for you, it's also important for your staff. I know that's something that was spoken about earlier, was just like quality of life for your staff. So just scheduling breaks, because I mean, like we say in Nigeria, body no be firewood, everybody needs to rest, right? And then finally, seeking professional help. So whether that's even considering something like therapy, speaking to a therapist, or even coaching, right? Maybe you want to talk to a business coach, maybe you want to talk to a mentor, or even consider becoming a mentor. It's very important that you have another person that you can speak to and get ideas from, right? That can just help hold you accountable, help discuss certain things with you. It's very key to do that. And then of course, therapy is very helpful. I know that we live in a society where therapy is we're still kind of warming up to the idea, but a therapist can help you make sense of things that you might be experiencing. a therapist can help you understand if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling stressed, and just how to manage those things. So these are 7 self-care tips that I would recommend, that I recommend for beauty and wellness service providers. If you can go back to the first slide, please, that would be awesome. So you have access to these 7 self-care tips that I just spoke about. If you just scan this QR code, and then you have access to it, you can screenshot it, you can download it, and all the good stuff. Okay, so back to the note cards that were given to us. So I've spoken about the 7 self-care tips that you can integrate into yourself. So still thinking about, just the things that are on your plate. Now I want you to think about the things that you can add to your plate, right? So are you going to add a break? There's a public holiday on Monday. Are you going to try to take that public holiday off? Right? We're entering into the festive period. Are you going to close for the holidays? What does that look like for you? So I just want you to spend the next 1 minute thinking about things that you can incorporate to just help you take care of yourself as a beauty and wellness service provider. Are you going to try to find a therapist? Are you going to try to find a mentor? Whatever the case is, I just want you to take a minute to just write that down, maybe 30 seconds to write that down, and we will just take it from there.